Hi guys, so for today's lesson, we'll talk about the four types of forgiveness. So let me share my screen. I hope you're learning from our past lessons. There will also be reflection questions after the video and short quizzes. So feel free to answer that so that the information would retain longer in your mind. So there are four types of forgiveness. The divine forgiveness or God's forgiveness towards people, towards us. The self-forgiveness, this is one of the hardest to execute, especially if you have a loud inner critic. The human-to-human forgiveness and the societal and social forgiveness is forgiving the politicians, forgiving wars and leaders, and forgiving the society's issues that affected you or offended you or harmed you. It- there is also an act of forgiveness. I think this is where we have confusion if you have forgiven a person or not. Um, uh, According to Worthington, there are two decisions or acts of forgiveness versus the decisional and the emotional forgiveness. So the decisional is the intentional statement stating that one's intent to forswear revenge, or so you're taking back your right to avenge yourself and treat the person as a valuable person, a valued person, or if the person is already dead or not available, then you would treat that, you pledge to treat that person with um, human respect, uh, with respect, and you will not avenge yourself to that person. So that's the decision of the will of our willpower, right? But again, our soul is mind, will, and emotion, right? We also have the body who keeps the score, right? So decisional forgiveness is um, done by the mind and the will, right? But usually, emotional forgiveness is what takes time to do, right? So like for example, the example that I we had earlier, I already decided to forgive my friend because he scratched my shoulder, and it takes me 1 week to be healed, right? But during the 1 week healing time, I wasn't able to um write on my job. I wasn't able to cook, right? The damage that was inflicted to me is still there. So every time I remember that damage, I also remember the hurt and the pain, right? Even if I intentionally forgave the friend, the hurt is still there, the damage still there. So every time I remember that, there probably be a temptation to hate the friend again, even if I already made a decision, right? Because the pain is happening, right? So sometimes when we're in pain, we want to blame someone, right? So emotional forgiveness is like that. The wound takes time to heal. According to Worthington, we'll have to decisionally replace the anger thoughts, the resentment thoughts with positive thoughts. He says that while unforgiveness is a complex combination of negative emotion, resentment, bitterness, hostility, hatred, anger, and fear, emotional forgiveness is the emotional replacement. So, for example, during the week, I was cooking breakfast and my shoulder aches. So my mind think about my friend. I want to blame my friend for what happened. I want to hate him for what happened, even if I already made a decision few days ago that I'll forgive, right? So emotional forgiveness is the decisional replacement of negative unforgiving emotion to positive oriented emotion like sympathy, empathy, compassion, agape, and romantic love, and maybe for a spouse, right? So instead of me thinking of hating my friend, what I'll do is I'll use my mind and my will to replace that emotion into empathy, sympathy, right? So I can replace it with thoughts like, all right, I understand my friend. He doesn't mean to do it. I bless him in my mind. I also bless my wound to be healed ASAP, as soon as possible. Right. So you replace the negative blaming, resentful thought with a positive thought, facilitated by non-conscious emotion like gratitude, humility that I also have aired, and hope. Hope that this will be healed. I also made mistakes in the past, and maybe in the future I'll also make mistakes. So I want to sow mercy. I want to sow forgiveness to this situation. So I will reap it in the future, and I'm still grateful that I'm still alive, right? Or I'm still able to function. It's just not that well, right? So we replace it with emotions of gratitude, humility, and hope. This is the acts of forgiveness according to Worth. So that would be for this lesson. I'll see you in the next.